All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are going to be covering STEM education in this term. And we have a team with us from Northern Illinois University and Louisiana State. So I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Cynthia DiCarlo. I'm an early childhood professor at Louisiana State University. And today we're going to share a project that we have been working on, Dr. Geist and I, in collaboration with Dr. Duffrin at Northern Illinois University. So we're going to be talking about how to integrate informal STEM in early childhood classrooms. Okay, so the purpose of our session is to discuss how to integrate through nutrition activities with young children, both science and mathematics content. In the United States, nutrition curriculum is not a part of teacher preparation. Also in the United States, teachers who work with young children birth through age 4 in childcare settings are not required to have an academic certification. And they get clock hour training on how to integrate or interact rather with very young children. And that also does not include nutrition education. So what we're going to be talking about is how we have adapted a program started by Dr. Duffrin called FoodMASTERs with older children and bringing it down to work with children ages 2, 3, and 4 years old. So what we would like to see is young children engaging in activities in the classroom that are introducing both science and mathematics content, and having these concepts being developed without having direct teaching. We recognize that there's a developmental sequence for learning STEM and mathematics concepts, yet for infants, they explore things through their senses, touching, tasting, and squeezing, and watching cause and effect. Toddlers engage in filling and dumping activities, sorting by color or texture, and early comparisons, while preschoolers predict, test ideas, and graph simple results and create patterns. And so these are all the beginnings of STEM, and they happen as early as infancy. And we want to use these concepts to help young children make sense of their world. So we believe that we can introduce emerging STEM through nutrition activities to create stimulating environments. So we want to offer children real sensory-rich materials through these nutrition activities and offer safe opportunities for them to touch, pour, fill, and mix, and recognize everyday STEM interactions within the classroom by comparing textures, sorting foods, and repeating actions, and observe children exploring these cause and effect activities, promoting their natural STEM abilities. A lot of times what happens in early childhood environments is children are engaged in play, and it's not as apparent to people outside of the classroom the learning that is occurring because we do not have our day organized into academic content. It's all very integrated. And so what we are trying to do is use these very motivating activities, and food is a very big motivator for young children, to introduce these concepts and get children engaged. So what this looks like in practice is we will ask children things like, what do you notice? Model descriptive language, and allow repeated actions to support their investigations.
I'm just gonna say.
This is my son, by the way, and his friend 18 years ago. So I love this picture because it shows how excited they are about having made these cookies. They spent this is one of the science projects that they didn't call it science, but they made cookies. So.
Good morning. So I'm Melanie Duffrin. I'm a professor of health sciences and nutrition at Northern Illinois University. And my program uses food as a tool to teach math and science to kids. We developed this program in 1999. Actually, Dr. Geist and I, when we worked at Ohio University together, started this. So we've been at this quite a long time. Over the years, I've had National Institutes of Health funding to the tune of about $4 million. We've had 3 different projects running over the years. We developed a grade 3 through 5, 6 through 8, and then we developed informal science education. If you go to our website, it's www.foodmaster.org. All of our curricular materials that we've developed over the years are free online for teachers. And then we have just recently finished a 5-year grant cycle where we developed what are called fan cards. So they're food and nutrition cards. And these cards are meant for informal science educators. And so the fan cards are small lessons that educators can use. They don't have to have a lot of training to use these cards, so they don't have to have a lot of extensive background. In our previous studies, we did teacher professional development, so the teachers were very highly trained, and then they would use our more advanced curriculum that they would actually take part in helping us develop and implementing. So the fan cards are a little bit more simple to use. They've been really well received, this format. They're also free online to download, so you can have access to any of those as well. And the cards we feel are, because we're getting such good responses from our audiences, that this is going to be a really great tool to use at the early grade levels. The other thing that an individual that I trained for about 10 years, she's at North Carolina State University. She has also developed a program for any of you that are interested called More Peas, Please. And this is preschool education and applied science. And they do a lot of work with training teachers on how to do inquiry and inquisitive learning. And so her program is focused in agriculture. So I wanted to let people be aware of that program as well. And you can find it at morepeasplease.org. So those are 2 different resources for you. So I just wanted to share a little bit with you about the programs and the resources that are available to you free online. And then I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Geist, and he's going to tell you a little bit about what they're doing at Louisiana State University to create their own similar FoodMaster program.
So first, I think what we have to do is explain what we mean by informal science education for some of you. I mean, some of you might already know what we're talking about. And informal science education just basically means science education that maybe is outside of the typical science class that happens during everyday life. And as Melanie said, the FoodMaster program actually targets some older children that when children start to get into some of those older grades, those informal spaces of education start to dry up. We don't have, it becomes much more formal. And so finding ways to do that can be a struggle. But in early childhood, and especially what we're talking about with bringing the food education, the nutrition education, really all the way back to birth, and thinking about how children construct knowledge about science without anybody really teaching it to them, right? So it is like the ultimate informal science education. From a day the baby is born, just like in our opening speech, we were talking about the caveman and the evolution from caveman all the way through having language and then to all the way up to AI. We see that it's kind of the parallels the development of an infant up through being an 18 or being an adult. And as a species, we didn't have a teacher that was teaching us, so we don't think we did. But we just kind of evolved that. And the brain is, as you said, the brain was the same. With children, the brain is actually a little different as it grows. And as it grows, the way that the child learns changes, but their interaction with the environment combines with the natural growth process. And so all this interaction, all the way up through age 5, where they might enter some formal schooling, is done without that direct teaching in these informal spaces. And children learn so much science in those first 5 years. Excuse me. So this again is my son and his friend cooking the cookies. And so when children are doing food activities, whether they're drinking from a bottle or whether they're participating in snack time and helping to make the snack, or whether they're doing cooking activities. Because in this picture, these kids this is a 3-year-old right here, right? And his school luckily had a kitchen that they could actually do some cooking. And so they made lavender cookies where they would go out into the garden and they would pick some lavender and then they would put it in the flour. And then they would add the wet ingredients and then they would do the stirring and the mixing. So you've got changes in texture. You've got for the force it takes to stir that up. All that stuff is informal science education that the child is bringing in and figuring out and putting it into a schema of how they understand their world, which is basically what science is. It's a way that we understand the world that we live in, whether it's at the higher physics, particle physics level, or whether it's at the level of how do I hold my bottle so that I can get the most milk out of it? And so the children are, especially the younger children, are using a lot of their senses to do science. So concrete sensory-based experiences like making cookies, engaging the senses, whether that's proprioception or whether it's seeing or smelling or tasting. And then we can also talk to children. So as young as, well, I mean, at birth, you can start talking to children about a lot of things. So at 8 months old, they'll actually, maybe even earlier, they'll definitely start understanding what you're saying. And at about 11 or 12 months, they'll start talking back, right? And that's amazing if you think about it in terms of evolution of knowledge. I mean, that's amazing that a child can go from 0 to 60 basically in that amount of time. So we can talk to them and we can talk about things and naming things. So if you're with a baby or an 8-month-old, you can talk to them just normally, and sometimes they will pick up the words that they understand. Okay, and eventually, we found with signing, they can actually sign back too. They just maybe not be able to verbalize it yet, and eventually they will talk back. And also, the scientific method of trying, testing, observing, and then trying again. I mean, children do that all the time. Whether they're 8 months old or whether they're 8 years old. So again, with this project that we are doing, we're taking FoodMaster, we're bringing it down to the earliest stages. Since we're from Louisiana, we have a large food culture and Creole and Cajun, and gumbo is a big part. As gumbo is a seafood and meats stew, basically soup stew that is very popular. We called our program Gumbo, which is guiding understanding of math from birth onwards. See, I got it right that time. And it will be about bringing the FoodMaster and using down into these youngest grades through teacher training. We're going to train the teachers in nutrition. We're going to get them out then we're going to get them trained, and then they're going to talk to the parents and they're going to talk to the teachers so that it becomes again with the informal science education, it doesn't just happen in the classroom, right? It's got to happen everywhere. So this is going to not only build their knowledge of nutrition, but also their knowledge of math and science, which again begins at birth, just like literacy, just like I said, figuring out how to speak and how to talk. And even with infants, you can do scooping activities. They can play with water, or they can do spoons. They can be scooping dry oats. They could be using measuring cups and scooping. They could be feeling texture of things. Okay, we have to be careful about using foodstuffs that isn't going to be eaten a lot of times, but there are still plants and things that you could put in there that children can feel, leaves, grass, those types of things. Again, children tasting fruits and graphing their favorites. Right? So we say, well, children doing math at 3 years old, that's difficult. No, just ask them, what's your favorite food? Well, you just ate a bunch of stuff. Which one was your favorite? And you give them a sticker and they put it, here, 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 and you've got a graph. And they understand it because they can see it. Hey, what does this tell us? Most people like oranges. 2-year-old. We didn't teach them that. They just learned it through their own natural ability to understand their world. And this is, this leads to early data representation. It leads to language development because, again, the more we talk to them, the more, the larger vocabulary they get, the larger science vocabulary they get, the more they can talk to us in a scientific way. Simple tally cards, those types of things are other suggestions also. So this is, you can scan this for the elementary fan cards if you want. This is a QR code. This is the one for more peas, please. And I'm sorry. Got it?
Just to sound spelling.
Okay, no problem. So this is what we've done so far. We are writing a grant right now, federal grant, USDA in the United States, for another 5-year program to do this gumbo project to bring a lot of the objectives of the FoodMASTER program down to the early childhood area with the young children and their families, and finding ways to bring in their families, the children, the teachers, but also agricultural support. In the United States, many states have what we call agricultural extension agents, or ag extension, which are there to help. Usually, it's there to help farmers. Traditionally, that's what it's been. But in the last 30, 40, 50 years, it has also turned into nutrition support for families. And what we want to do is to then leverage that to use the ag extension people to help teachers to be able to bring that nutrition education into the classroom. So this is our information. So also, this is my book if you would like to buy it. If not, that's fine too. And if you have any questions, or if you want to partner in any way, or you're really interested, let us know. If you're interested in early childhood, email Dr. DiCarlo or I. We have the Early Childhood Education Institute at LSU, where we are trying to do projects much as what we're doing here, but we have also many other initiatives to train teachers, to reach out to families, to increase the quality of preschool education for children. So I think I've used our time, so we can open it up for questions.